welcome to my first stream of the 18-19 FPL season. It's FPL day, yes, Premier League is back tonight. Who else is excited? Get it in the chat. Come on now. This is my first solo of this season so far, so a little bit nervous, haven't been too well, so bear with me a little bit. Usually I stream with the Wildcats, the FPL Wildcats, so pop on over and check those out. But today I'm going to be talking to you about my team, and I've got a couple of drafts, so I'm going to talk through what I've got, and then hopefully you guys can give me some tips, because I'm not really sure that I have, a good team yet or not, and I'm hearing some news from the press conferences as well, so get that in the chat so that I can check those out. But before we get going, just want to tell you I'm going to be using a mixture of websites because I'm a bit of an FPL obsessive, so I use more than one website, of course I do. So the first being the official Fantasy Premier League website, of course, can't go anywhere without that. And the other one is the Fantasy Football Fix website, and that's where I've got my drafts, so I'll head on over to that in a second. They've allowed me to freely use their pre-season packs, so we'll head on over to that now and take a look at my first draft. Let's have a look here. Now bear with me if anything the technology goes wrong, so hopefully the sound and everything is like good, because I've been working on this for a while. So here we go. Okay, so this is my first draft. Yep, no money left in the bank. That's typical in most of these drafts, to be fair. They're just, I don't have anything left, really. So, Edson in goal. In most of these drafts, you'll notice a theme. There are a core, I think, roughly 6 players that are all about the same. So, I've got Edson in goal, Robertson, David Luiz, who, pretty much in most of those teams, Salah, Aubameyang and Aguero. Now, I know it's big up top, it's risky, a little bit worried that I'm putting too much up top, but I'm just a premium forwards girl, and I just can't seem to get away from that, to be honest with you. So I'm going to talk you through the rest of this team. I've got PVA. Very happy with him at the moment. Don't really want to get rid of him. Again, he's in most of my drafts. Bernardo Silva now. I'm going to check the chat because, so we've got, I think that Pep said something about KDB getting a start or something in the presses. If somebody can kind of help me clarify that, that'd be brilliant. But yeah, Bernardo is now worrying me, and he's in a lot of these drafts. So, a little bit nervous about that one. Danny Ings, bit risky. Seen a video today of him scoring a worldie, looking good, looking fresh. Should get the game time for Southampton, 5.5. I think, let's take a little look at him. 5.5, 1.4% owned, so it's quite low owned. He's a risky one. I'm not sure on that one. And then I'll just lift this up so you can see my bench. Just check in the chat. I got a couple of computers going on here, so sorry. Who's PVA? Somebody's asking. That's Patrick Van Aanholt. Yeah, have to remember to use their full names when I can actually say them. So, apologies about that. So, Bernardo's out for Frank Walsh because of what Pep said. Yeah, that's definitely worrying me. What have we got here? Pep said KDB and Sterling ready to start. Okay, so that's the worry then. The problem with KDB and Sterling is, like, how do you work them into your teams? I mean, I'm struggling to see how we squeeze those in, to be honest. So then we have Masuaku. He's played pre-season, 4.5. West Ham, I have a sneaky feeling about West Ham this season. I think they might be a much better team than previous seasons, and they might do a lot better. So, yeah, I'm just kind of keeping him. I think he got an assist. You maybe even got a bit more, chuck it in the chat if he got a bit more pre-season. But I think he's going to be my 4.5 midfielder for sure. Peltier and Wan-Bissaka, both 4-0, and they're both seem to be pretty nailed on for their teams. Peltier picked up a bit of a niggle. I think he's okay now, though. So just putting that out there. And I've been told by Brett, FPL TV, that Hammer might get a start over over Lossell. So make sure that, you consider things. I was a bit worried with Edison not starting on the weekend that he might not start. Is it tomorrow? Man City playing? I think it's tomorrow. That he might not start, but you know what? Caballero is kind of the cup keeper, so people have kind of pulled me back a bit and said, Bravo, sorry, not Caballero, is kind of the cup keeper, so people have said to me, try not to worry. Yeah, but if he doesn't play, there's likelihood the Hammer takes his place. So, what have we got in the chat? Hughes said Ings is fit and in contention. Ooh, that helps this draft for sure. 11 mil is pricey for Sterling. I agree. If he'd been more around the 10 mil mark, I'd be considering him. I had him for most of last season. Big advocate of him. Know he can do really, really well for City. It's tough. Is it tough this year, guys? It feels like it's really tough, like trying to squeeze everyone you want into your teams. The prices are just so high. Really, I really think it's favouring that kind of one premium forward. But you know what? Arsenal, Man City always has goals in it. Always. And we have a terrible defence, but at the same time, we can sneak a goal. So Fam says, Aguero! Of course. And he also says, didn't like to have Bernardo Silva anyway, so out he goes. So if I'm getting rid of Bernardo Silva, maybe we need to have a little think about who I can put in there. So Ryan says Ings won't probably start. Perhaps shift to a 3-5-2 with better options, 5.5 mid. I got a couple of other drafts here, Ryan. You can tell me if you like one of those better. I'll move on to them now in a second. Frank says Tompkins an option. Yes, Tompkins did better than Van Aanholt last season, I believe, in the points. But I don't know. Just have a sneaky feeling about Patrick. I just have a sneaky feeling. I feel like now he's got his league set up, so, you should all go and join that. But now that he's got that league set up, then I can see him playing to win, because he doesn't want to be at the bottom of his own league, and he's going to have to put himself in it. So, come on. Anyway, should say at this point, if you're enjoying this at all, or you liked any of my content that I've put out pre-season, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and it'll tell you when I'm doing all this nonsense again, basically. So, yeah. Okay. What have we got? Paul says, Pep said Bernardo was the first name on the team sheet, and that was just after last pre-season game. Now, I do know that Paul is quite a reliable source for City. So now I'm starting to think, do I keep Bernardo Silva in? Whose place does he take, Paul? Maybe you can check that in the chat for us. Help us out. If KDB slips back in and Sterling sits back in, what's that mid look like? That'd be helpful. Cool. Right, I'll move on to my next draft quickly. Okay, this is going 4 at the back. Again, spent all my cash. You know what I'm like. Can't help it. Again, Edison in goal. You know what? Edson only got 2 less clean sheets than David De Gea last season. I love that City defence when it's working, and it is working. And City look like they, want to just set off exactly how they ended the last season. In fact, nothing's changed really. What have they done? Signed one kiddie. So I think they will line up more or less exactly the same, barring injuries, and as soon as people are fit enough to do that. Yes, I understand it's risky against Arsenal. He's my set and forget. I'm not expecting much initially, but then City's run of games are they're just too nice. They're brilliant. As I get better at this, I will be I can chuck in more graphics and stuff like that, but yeah, so Huddersfield, Wolves, Newcastle, Fulham, Cardiff. I mean, come on. Oh, that's Danny Ings. That's not help to anybody. Why does it say Danny Ings on there? That is Man City's, isn't it? Thought that was Man City's. Let me check. Don't know why it keeps telling me that it's Danny Ings. Man City midfielder, yeah. So that's definitely that. Yeah, that's definitely a run of games. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with the websites because they're just trying to keep up with everyone. Yeah, exactly. They just can't handle the servers and stuff. It's madness. Okay, Edders. Yeah. That's definitely Edison's run of fixtures. So, Huddersfield, Wolves, Newcastle, Fulham, Cardiff, Brighton. Don't really have to be worrying until somewhere around game week 8. And by then I could switch to maybe Chelsea goalkeeper. We can have a look how he's doing. Schmeichel, that sort of thing. Right, what we got? Paul says, if you watch City, you'll know they are very fluent. Bernardo will play across the front three, but drop into Silva's role. I thought it was Silva's role he might take. The other Silva, rather than Bernardo Silva. Okay, so what do we think of this second draft then? Got a bit less in defence. Still got Patrick Van Aanholt. Still got Robson. Pretty kind of core two, those two at the back for me. Then I've got Cook, only because Bournemouth signed somebody in Daniel's position. Cook is 4.5, so yeah. Is it better with Hart in goal for Burnley? That's what I want to know. Lee Simpson, Anderson of West Ham will be a midfield goldmine. I agree. He was in my transfers video I did about him, and he had some awesome stats. So yeah, it's just that nerves, isn't it, over these new people coming into the league. But then if I've got Keita, I'm still taking the same risk, I suppose. It's just more of a top club. But Keita has really good stats. However, I have learned that he does like a card or two. Will that be the same underneath Klopp? We'll have to wait and see. Fan says Tarkowski nailed when Ben Gibson come. Okay. I'm not sure actually. That could be a worry that those two might. He thinks it might. Oh, me, Tark, Ben Gibson. Okay, so he's saying he is nailed. Right, okay. Fair enough. Cool. That's good to know. Again, I've got Bernardo in. The one thing I will say, and as I say, I trust what Paul's saying to me. Bernardo gets that run out for a couple of weeks. You know what? There are plenty of options. Like we were just saying about Anderson. We've got Richarlison, we've got Walcott, we've got Jota, we've got so many people. It could be Willian and Pedro when we know what's happening with them, who could take Bernardo's place. Also, will I be sticking with Aguero long term? I hope that Pep will play Aguero and Jesus 2 up front, but that midfield that he has is just scary good. He might rotate them, to be honest. Let's be fair. So if that is the case, Aguero could go down to somebody a bit cheaper. I'm thinking Firmino. Well, I was going to say Lacazette, but that would be two Arsenal forwards. Yeah, a little bit worrying there. But this one allows me to spend a bit more midfield because I've got Kamara up front. And now, as you will see on my screen, that Fulham have signed a forward. So I think that might mean that Kamara loses his place, to be honest. I got some stats on some of the transfer bits and pieces. So let me look. I'll just run down the list. We had Mina, who we'll just keep a check on these. I wouldn't say necessarily bring them into your teams just yet, but I am keeping an eye on Mina because in that David Luiz spot that I have, that 5.5 spot, he could work there. He didn't play much for his club, either through injury or away at internationals. In 17-18, he got 1 assist and 5 goals in the La Liga games. And he's had 6 goals in 15 games for Colombia. So, including 3 in this World Cup, because I remember watching them. Then we have Vieto, who was next. He's this striker, I think, that's just gone to Fulham. His most prolific season was 14-15. 20 goals and 8 assists, so he's got it in him in 48 games for Villarreal in all competitions. But he hasn't really made it into that Argentina team. There's just too much going on there, really, for him. So we'll have to see if he's a bit of a standout, I guess. Then we have Bernard, who's gone to Everton. Gosh, Everton have been busy in the transfer, haven't they? They're just buying everybody. They're just making sure everybody. He got 28 goals and 35 assists in 157 games for Shakhtar. So, yeah. He's only Diddy. He's just like me. 5 foot and 4 inches. I think I'm even smaller than him, actually. But, yeah, I'm not sure he'll be stuck in the penalty box to header them goals in, is all I'm saying, at that size. But sounds like anything like me, might get amongst the others and just toe poke it in, you know. We'll have to wait and see how he works out. He's only 4.5 though, so it could be worth a pick. Could just have a look at that. No, he's 6 million. He's 6. Sorry, he's 6. The next person, Sanchez, 4.5. Avoid him. He's Carlos Sanchez. I mean, we all know about him from the World Cup. Don't need to say anymore. Lucas Perez from Arsenal. Yeah, I was surprised. They've stuck him at 6.5. Could he be in my Danny Ings spot? What do we think of Lucas Perez? So stick some stuff in the chat about that for me, won't you? He created 79 chances in the La Liga last season. Lionel Messi being the only player to create more with 87. He's never forced himself into the Arsenal team, unfortunately. He's tried, bless him. But when he has played, 7 goals, 5 assists in 21 games, not too bad. He'll plays with his left foot, so we'll have to see where he fits in the Hammers. But looking forward to seeing him there. I'm looking forward to seeing him there. Got to catch up with the chat, sorry. Again, just to say, if you're enjoying this, please like and subscribe. Everything you do helps us YouTubers out, so it's fantastic. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Then we had Traore, who went in from Middlesbrough to Wolves. He's 5.5. Is right plays on the right wing, I believe. So interesting stat. Pretty quick. Could be the quickest in the league. So it'd be interesting. 37 games in the Premier League last season and just 3 assists. Yeah, just 3 assists. Okay, and then last up, is Danny Ings. You've seen him in my last draft. I'll just scroll up actually so you guys can see my defense, but my bench, sorry, but it's pretty much the same as it was in the last one. He's obviously had his injury troubles at Liverpool, so you are taking a risk if you put him in straight away, obviously, but sometimes that reaps rewards and you can jump on the price rises, you know, so consider him. 14 goals in 49 Premier League games. Yeah, hopefully he can return to his Burnley form where he scored 43 and got 14 assists. So yeah, if I went back to that original draft, he looks good for that position, definitely. So okay, what do we have in the chat before I move on to my next one? Wait for first game week to see whether Arnautovic starts up front. If ever Arnautovic starts up front, Perez will surely be on the bench. Good point, Ryan. Get Pereira to the top of the watch list alongside Madsen. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Pereira, so I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. I think Jones' men will choke. That's from Fam. Analysis, Austin is more likely to start than Ings. Ooh, interesting. Okay then, let's take you on to my next draft. Again, I'm not even going to go over my defence again because it's pretty much the same in most of these. I'm just kind of jiggery-pokering the front line, really. Now, I really like this one because it plays the percentages. And the smart people who do well, it has been said, usually play the percentages. So, should I be playing the percentages? Now, when I say that, I'm talking about people like Zaha. Let's have a look. I think he's pretty highly owned now, I mean. Let's go to all players and let's go to ownership. What do you have? Yeah, he's right at the top there. So, with my front three, that's 30.2% for Aguero owned, 22% owned for, 20.6% for Aubameyang, and 31.1% for Zaha. And then if you say you go with midfielders and stick Salah into the mix there at 53.9% and Richarlison at 18.5%, already this is looking, like I'm playing the percentages game fairly well. So quite like this team. I don't know much about Kearney, I have to say. He's not one I've covered in many of my videos, but I do hear good things about him. So, Fam said that, remember, you play for fun. That's true, you do. Wow. It can get a bit competitive, can't it? Let's all be honest with ourselves. Let's just all be honest with ourselves, you know? We all play for fun, but really we all want to beat each other. So shout out to Dizzy Dory in the chat. Hi Dizzy. Sights down, it's too late. Who's that? Natty. Site will definitely crash later. Yeah, it's quite possible. I hope not. Ryan says, I prefer King to Zaha. Zaha will probably start on the wing and Bournemouth has a better run of fixtures. Yep, my next draft has King in, so I can't argue with you there. Look, I've driven myself crazy the last few weeks trying to decide what team to go with. I'm pretty set on that front three. I'm pretty set on having Salah, and I'm pretty set on most of that defence that you see there. Everyone else is a bit of chop and change. Now, I don't know what percentage owned King is. We could have a quick look. Forwards. 7.5%. Not bad. You know, I'm not sure what Ayu. I went to the Popping Pod. We have a bit of a funny thing with the Ayus. We have to say Ayu. So him going to Palace, I don't know if that will affect Zaha. As you say, it might push him out to the wing. But then he was out in the wing last season and still did really well for us. So we could maybe, like we did with Alonso, the season before last, where we thought about him as being out of position, OOP, we could possibly be seeing Zaha in the same way, you know. So if he goes back to the midfield in Crystal Palace, then you just consider, especially in my lineup here, I'd just be thinking, well, I've got my premium forwards. He's just another midfielder. And to be honest, at the moment, that's where everyone seems to think the money is worth, you know, that's where it's coming from. So try not to get too wrapped up maybe in Zaha being a forward in the game. It's how you want to think about him in your team. For me, if I go for him, it'll be A, percentages, and B, it'll be because if he does get moved out to the wing, like Aubameyang could as well, then can I say, everything still should go through, you know. Everything still should go through Zaha. I just don't know what else to say, really. It's Palace. He's kind of Zaha. Him and Van Aanholt can tear it up. How did I end up with 3 Palace players? Just my pod partner would be very happy about that. Paul says Zaha does the whole cut in from the out wide really well. It's high percentage of his game. Yeah, that's true. Joe Hart, a good buy from Raja. I think he played last night for Burnley, and it was a 0-0. However, we don't know how good the opposition were. So how attacking they were, how many saves Joe Hart had to make. I'll be avoiding, personally. So sorry, fam. I lost him with the translation with the weird Zaha theory. Yeah, I do tend to kind of just think a bit quicker than it comes out of my mouth. But what I'm saying is, he's been put as a forward in the game by the official Premier League. If he ends up going back into the wing position for Crystal Palace, so back in as a midfielder for Crystal Palace, they're not going to change it on the game. So then you've got to think about maybe accepting him, if you keep him in your team, as if he was another midfielder for you. Exactly like we did when Alonso was a defender, but he was scoring so many goals we could pay 7 mil, I think it was, for him at one point, because he was effectively like a midfielder for us. So I really like that team though. Ryan says, well balanced apart from Zaha. Oh, yes, we have a like. Okay, so you'd want King, Perez or Ings, Ryan, in that position. But yeah, I guess King's nailed, isn't he? And he has a good run of games. So let's have a quick look at his fixtures. Cardiff, West Ham, Everton, Chelsea, Leicester, Burnley. Yeah. Do you know what it is? It's just that Kingy has trolled me in the past. And I should get over this. I know I should get over this. And just kind of, yeah, you can think too much about previous seasons and what players have done for you. Io Negan says, thoughts on Sigurdsson. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. He's done badly for me in past seasons, but this season, Everton have really bolstered that team. Sigurdsson is on free kicks and I think possibly corners. So I think he could be a sneaky differential, you know. We're all looking at the Richarlisons and the Walcotts. Well, I say that. Hindu Monkey would be very unhappy with me for saying Walcott. But we're all looking at those sorts of players when it could be Sigurdsson that could be the one to watch. So, let you in on a bit of a secret. My mum's a big fan of Sigurdsson. So, she always does quite well from the off because she always has people like Aguero and Sigurdsson and things like that in her team. So, wow, up to 50 people watching. Thank you guys so much. Like, this is amazing. You're all brilliant. The support this season has been, this pre-season especially, has been fantastic. And I really just want to raise the profile of ladies in football and fancy football. And, you know, we love the game. So thank you all so much for the support. Yeah, just like and subscribe, and I'll add some more fancy graphics as all of this goes along. In fact, let's see if I can get you guys chat up now while I'm doing this, rather than let me get that out of the way. Nah, it's not gonna work for me, is it? Can you guys see the chat, or is it just being weird? I think it says that the chat's unavailable, which is a bit frustrating. So, there's my first technical fail. So I'll stick the transfers back up for you guys. There you go. Anyway, moving on. What do I have? My take on... If you don't want King, just don't downgrade Zaha to Kamara as a third option on the bench and just get 7 mil or under like Jota or Maddison. Yeah, completely agreed. It is a definite option. It has, to be fair, Kamara was nailed in my team until that new signing yesterday. So it's that thing of not having a playing bench, even if they are cheap. It's always nice to have a playing bench, I guess, Ryan. So that would be my only worry. Big shout out to my FPL Wildcats. My JNO is in the chat. Say hello to him, guys. No, not Alexis is in for his head. I don't know what that's about. You take it more seriously, dedicated than some certain Wildcat. So, hi Josh, welcome to the chat. Oh, Phil's got to head to work. Bye Phil, thanks for dropping in. You got to go to work? I hope you're going to be done before the Premier League starts, or that you've got a pad or something you can watch it on. Josh saying in Freya that is 90% of my team. Ooh, Josh, we're like FPL twinsies. We're like FPL twinsies. Thanks, Phil. Lots of luck to you this season as well. Oh, thank you, dude. Keep up the good work. I'll try. Wouldn't we all have 5, 6, 5 mids and boast about how much more they're worth? I think I've missed the first bit of that conversation. So everyone's saying hello to Jay. Let's move on to my final draft. And this is the last draft. Now this is going big in mid. This is like squeezing money into 2 players in midfield. So, again, the defence is the same. Again, we've got Aguero, Aubameyang, but there we go, Ryan. Ryan, there's Kingy for you. He's there. Again, the bench hasn't changed. So now I'm basically just between that third striker spot and who to shove in midfield, aren't I? Let's be honest. Let's be honest with each other. Let's just check that out there. What we got in the chat. Still decided over Arnautovic versus Zaha. That's the $1 million question. And actually, do you know the teams that are worrying me the most? It's not really the ones with Kane and things in, which I probably should be looking at and probably should be concentrating on, because, you know, if Kane finally does break his like August curse is likely to be the one season where none of us actually have him in our teams. So I bet that's bound to happen this season. But I can't even remember what I was talking about now. But yeah, just basically, I just think, I can't even remember what I was saying. Effectively, Kane isn't the one that's worrying me. That's it, I've remembered. Kane isn't the one that was worrying me. It's these kind of Arnautovic's and Zaha's with Aguero or Aubameyang. You know, they're the ones that are worrying me, because let's be honest here, there's a lot of people that play this game and they get good results year in, year out. They are people I would consider experts in the game. For the rest of us, we just really enjoy playing it, and at this point in the season you can make all the educated guesses in the world. It can be a bit of a luck of the draw, so we are trying our best to just choose who we think is going to be best really for us. So what do we have in the chat? Paul, Everton confirms Zuma has signed on loan for the season. Zuma. Cool. Could be one to watch. PZ has captained Sanchez over Salah for game week 1. Is he nuts? You're asking an Arsenal fan here, so you know, I don't have Sanchez in any of these teams, but I might consider him in the season. You can't let club bias or anything affect FPL. You just can't. But, you know, you can affect your feelings, so that's why Aguero's in the team. But Sanchez over Salah. I just think, for me, it's got to be Salah. Salah's my captain at the moment. I think this is the team I actually have on my FPL site for you guys to see. Oh no, I've got, yeah, it's the same one, is it? Yeah, I think so. Or very similar at least. Let me check. I've got Hughes instead of Neves, but it's similar. So yeah, I'm at the moment, this is how it would be. It would be lined up if I played that one, and I would be captaining Salah. You got to play the percentages first couple of weeks, and I'm pretty sure everyone will be captaining Salah. I mean, at home to West Ham, I do think West Ham has strengthened that team a lot, but yeah. But I could see why you would go Sanchez. He says he's well rested. He feels well up for this season. It'll make tonight's game far more exciting for you, that's for sure. What have we got? Salah/Mane. When you do the eye test, no glasses needed. Gino has the same front three, so that's good. Is that King, Aubameyang and Aguero? Gino, anyone got Kane? Natias, has anybody got Kane? Should we have a look at what percentage own Kane is? 31.7% of players have Kane, Natty. So yes, people do have Kane. Spurs don't really have anyone else to play up top. Could be Llorente. I think they'll play Kane, but it's a fully rested Kane in August. Has trolled us in the past. Yeah. Yeah. I can see us all wanting to squeeze him back in our teams in a couple of weeks' time. And we still have Lukaku to come as well. So you know, by like week 4, Aubameyang and Aguero could be Kane and Lukaku, and everyone else will just have gone to dust. So, okay, Paul's off. It was great for you to join. Thanks, Paul. Cheers for joining into the stream. Find the extra 0.5 and take Callum Patterson over Hughes. Yes, I've said Patterson has been in a few of my videos. Really like the look of him. I don't have any change left over here. That would be the only problem with this team, I think, Harry, is that then it would mean I would have to more or less play either a 4-mil defender, or I would have to drop somebody like Kearney down to a 4.5 to squeeze somebody like Patterson into that spot. So that's the only slight problem with this draft. Bam, it's just one of the drafts, my friend. Don't panic. She starts with 2.5 mids. Ryan really fancies Mane this season. Yeah, he could be. Said this before. Mane over Firmino at the moment. Mane wins for me. He wins outright for me. King, Gino has the same one. King, Alba, and Aguero. That's cool. It's good to know I'm not the only one out there. It's just not good. I'm not the only one out there. Do I have any money back left in the bank? Vince is asking. No money left in the bank in any of these drafts. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about that, because I know some of the strategy for a lot of people this season is to hold some money back in the bank so that they can use it for somebody like Kane when they come along. Unfortunately, all of my drafts, because they've got 2 premium forwards in them, there's no money in the bank, and if I want to get somebody like Kane, I'm gonna have to take that money from somewhere else. Just gonna have to take that money from somewhere else. I think some of these will be ridiculous this season. Mane, Ozil, Mickey. This is Fam again. Mane, Ozil, Mickey, Pogba, King. Mane, yes. Ozil, maybe. Mkhitaryan, pre-season worried me, hoping he gets into form by playing game time every game week. Pogba, yes, when fit. And King, yes, at the moment he's in my team. So that's my thoughts on that one. Fam says, I actually think Gross will match his value this season easily with new additions. Yeah, Gross is not one again I've really considered. He did fantastically last season, and to be honest, let's have a look. Let's see how many people have selected him. So the people returning to the game don't really have thought about him either. I mean, 8.4% selected. More people have gone for the injured Pogba and Hazard than, well, Hazard's not injured anymore, is he? He just was out because of the World Cup. But more people have gone for Sessegnon than they have for Gross. So, yeah. We've seemed to have forgotten about him a little bit, don't we? And mind taking a quick look at his stats again, actually. Let's take a look. Why am I in Huddersfield? Somewhere I want to go. Seven goals and 8 assists. So, yeah, I think maybe it's because he's moved up to that 7 mil bracket. People are a bit like, do we want to spend that kind of money on him when we could be like looking at somebody? Let's have a look. 7 mil. 7 million. Get out Brighton. That's not going to help me, is it? Brighton's not going to help me. Can you guys see that on the side there? You can't really see that, can you? It's not helpful to you at all. Okay, I'll sort that out for the next stream. Sorry about that. But midfielders... so people like Richarlison and Goodmanson, he's another one I think that's getting kind of left out of the wing. Okay, where are we at? Is Rashford a good call for the first 2 weeks? We'll swap him for either Zaha or Arnie depending on positions they play. A couple of the lads that I know who do Man United predicted lineups don't really have Rashford starting. I think that's because he hasn't really done much with the pre-season squad. So, is he nailed? Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you want to go with somebody who you know is definitely... I mean, unless you've heard something, do chuck it in the chat if you've heard something, because that'd be cool if you have. Mane or Ericsson from FPL Centre. You know what? This team that you're seeing right now has had Ericsson in it and has had Mane in it probably a couple of thousand times. I keep switching the two in and out, so... No one has mentioned Mata. He should be starting at 6.5. Seems like a bargain. That's from Davo. Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure that Mata will be nailed. 6.5 bargain, quite possibly. There are teams that I don't, from the top 6 last season, that I don't have any of in here at the moment. There's no Spurs. There's no Man United, as you mentioned. I was hoping to stick somebody Man United in that David Luiz spot, but until we know what the defence is going to be for Man United, it worries me too much to do that. It will be either Salah, Kane this season. Having both will see our team in complete shambles. Ryan, I couldn't agree with you more. There's so much money in those two players. I think this is the reason why they've done it, though, to make the game a bit more interesting. And so we can't all have the same. If we want a rest of the team, we are going to have to choose between Kane or Sanchez, you know, or Salah. You know, we're not going to be able to have them all. Mata, Pam says Mata is no fun. Pereira is fun though at 5. Fair enough. If they do start Pogba, Friend and Pereira today. Yeah, possibly. I do think Mata will get into that mid though, I have to say. World Cup was 3 weeks ago, to be fair. They should all be well rested and well enough to play. That's from Hash. Very true. I think there will be a lot of players this weekend that people will not have taken any account for because of the World Cup. People like Kane, for instance. People like Ericsson, for instance. People like KDB, for instance, and Sterling. We haven't put them in our teams. Well, a lot. We haven't put them in our teams because A, we don't think we're not sure if they're nailed, and B, they're very expensive. So do we want to put really expensive players in our team if they're not nailed? You know, it's... This season could be the season for an early wild card. People are talking about game week 4. I don't like to use my wild card that early, if I'm honest, but I could get forced into it just because there will be players probably by next weekend that I'll be like, oh, why didn't I even think of that person? Why didn't I get those in my team? Lucas Moura, yeah, I heard he's going to start. He's done really well pre-season. He's got a couple of goals and assists, I believe. He's been in my team. you know what? If I'm considering a swap for Bernardo in any of these earlier drafts, it could be for Lucas Moura. So that could happen. Okay, Pogba won't be starting according to Davo. I don't think he will. I mean, I've not heard of him being back in training or anything yet. Fam says Sanchez, Rashford, Lukaku, Mata up front. Mata not as the midfield today. Okay, so he'll play it. He'll be playing out of position. He'll be playing up front because he is a midfielder in the game. So. Can't make my mind up on Sanchez or Zaha or Mane and Aguero. So Sanchez and Zaha or Mata and Aguero. Personally, for me, out of those two, you'll probably be getting more out of Sanchez and Zaha than you would possibly for Mata and Aguero. Saying that, Aguero is Aguero, and there's a reason why I love the dude. I'm not a City fan, but I am kind of a City fan because of Aguero. So there is a reason he is as good as he is. Do I see Mata matching Zaha though? Possibly not. And I don't know how long Mata stays up front playing out of position, and I don't know how many, how did again, you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but I'm just going to quickly look at the stats for Mata for last season. Okay, so Mata got 3 goals and 5 assists last season, 1,919 minutes, and then we have Zaha, who played almost twice as many minutes, 9 goals and 7 assists. So minute wise, he kind of matches. It's just how much game time in comparison he will get. Oh, Goal says, I thought Pogba was in the matchday squad. I'm not sure on that one, if I'm honest with you. I don't remember Mourinho saying anything yesterday, but it could be. Oh, you can see it. That's good. I wasn't sure if you could see the bit down the side with the percentages, so that's good. Thanks, Dizzy. PC says Sanchez had a good summer. Rashford is 10, and after pre-season for United, it can only get better. He hopes. United. He's United fan, so he's a bit biased. Zaha doesn't want to be there, and Arnie has bad fixtures. I think it's tough. I can hear my pod partner in my ear, McTavius, saying now that that Zaha is still at Palace, and let's give some of these footballers a bit of a break. As far as I'm concerned, they are professionals. At least they are professionals, and if something doesn't go as they planned, it's just like you applying for a new job. If you don't get the job, even if you're unhappy at your old job, you're not then going to go in every week sulking, Zaha is a really good football player. He's done really good for Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have made some good signings. I don't think he dislikes Palace, I don't think he likes it. I mean, he wouldn't have gone back there, when he had the chance to go big at other clubs. So yeah, of course, every player wants to better themselves, go to bigger clubs, things like that. But I don't think he'll. I'm not saying he's definitely the one to have in that spot, but I think cut him some slack. cut the guy some slack. I think he'll still do a job for Palace. Oh, hello, Ryan. Kane just tweeted, I think that's tweeted, meant to be tweeted, a picture of him on the training group with, oh, sorry, chat just jumped. How have I done the chat, am I? Sorry, just trying to find, there we go. Tweeted a picture of him on the training ground with comments saying new season, new challenges, can't wait. That tweet will make the community go mad in a few hours. Yeah, I'm calling the community the FPL circle from now on. So yeah, the circle will be going absolutely bonkers, I'm sure of it. Okay, just again, thanks for the numbers, guys. Thanks for joining in. If you're really enjoying this stream, please pop me a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell and it'll tell you when I'm doing madness like this again. Hope to get the graphics a bit, some funkier graphics next time. Kind of rushed this out a little bit to try and get to you. You know, this is all very new to me, and thanks to J&O and some of those people who really helped me out to get this stream up today. So yesterday, I was hoping to do it yesterday for the transfer deadline day, but I was so unwell yesterday. Okay, so we taking Bilver out for KDB or keeping Sanchez? Steve says. Paul has told me that he thinks Bernardo will still start, at least for a couple of games. So I guess it depends on how nailed you want to be for how long. KDB is KDB. If he starts this weekend, he might not play the full 90, but does he need the full 90? And if you can afford Sanchez, he's going to be nailed, and he's Sanchez. So personally, out of those three, if you don't want to pay the pep roulette, then go Sanchez, but make sure you've got some cover somewhere else for City, because although they're against Arsenal, I said it earlier in the stream, there's still goals in that regardless. So FPL Centre says Arnie is a fixture-proof monster, can score against big teams on the counter. Yeah, he can. What can I say? Do you know what? He's quite. Oh, he's forward now, isn't he? To always can't keep up with all these bits and pieces. Rich. Yeah, out of the forwards. See, I think people are pretty much shaping up. Like they've got either Kane, Aguero, Aubameyang, and then next to them, I think they've got Arnautovic and Zaha, and that's why I think the percentage is as high as it is. I think that could be a really good way to line up. But okay, I'm a mini league player. That's my background. That's where I come from. I know loads of people will say if you're doing well in your OR, you'll be doing well in your mini league. To some point, that's true, but you also have to think about the people in your mini league. For me, there's a lot of supporters in my mini league of one particular team. So they always saturate their teams with that particular team. So I often try and play that a little bit. So for me, they're not necessarily the same. I'm quite new to the OR thing. So it's a little bit hard for me to look beyond budget and premiums and percentages. And sometimes it can just make your head swim. There's so much information. I just love talking and chatting FPL. I love, putting my listening to people's points and telling people what I think. I think I just like two premium forwards, always have, and it's probably killing the structure of these teams, but can't help it, I just can't help it. I love Aguero, and I've already come out and said I think Aubameyang will get the golden boot this season, so I'd be a bit foolish not to start him, wouldn't I, really? I will wrap up soon, guys, because I've been chatting for like an hour and I don't want to like get to the point where you'll get a bit bored of me. So before I do that, I'll just try and cover a few more questions. Lloris or Kappa likely to start in game week 1? I don't know about the Chelsea keeper, if I'm honest with you. And Lloris, I don't know if he's back in training. That was a useless one to pick out for me, wasn't it? Because I knew nothing about the answer to that question. So, sorry about that. United fans are all rooting for Pereira, but if Jose can pick, it might be McTominay. A sad day for football, but a lovely day in Jose's world. Fam, you're awesome. Like, you've made me giggle so much in the stream. Thanks for joining the chat. Jose is Jose, isn't he? Are you guys, as United fans, have definitely have an interesting time with him as your manager, don't you? Matthew says he's too scared to change any of his players. Then is my team done? Yes. If you're too scared to change any of them because you're worried, one of them will do something when you get rid of them, then to me that says you've settled on the right team for you. So don't let anyone persuade you any differently. Just go with that team, because you'll only regret it if you transfer it out for somebody else and then the player you got out scores or gets an assist or does really well, and you'll be like, what did I do that for? What did I do? I should have just listened to my gut. Whereas if you go for it and then they do rubbish, then it's fair game, isn't it? Because then you're like, well, that was my own stupid fault. Bilva for next 7 game weeks at 7.5 is good enough in Pep's roulette. Possibly, yeah. Ryan would like to know which team I'm a fan of. No, Ryan, it's fine. For all my sins, I'm an Arsenal fan. Family, that's how I grew up. Half of the family Arsenal, half of the family were Spurs. So as you can imagine, it's always quite fun on match days when those two faced off against each other. Fortunately, lost a few members of the Spurs side of the family quite recently. Meant the last end of the season last year, I put Kane in and spent a lot of time captaining Kane and having Spurs players as a bit of a tribute to them. But yeah, Arsenal for all my sins. Very, very, very looking forward to seeing what Emery can do with this team. Should be good times. I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping so. But I will miss Wenger, that's for sure. Sanchez is a good option. Frank, can't disagree with you. He should start as a forward tonight. 10.5 is a fairly cheap forward compared to some of the others, as you know. Oh, just to let people know, as soon as I'm wrapped up here, my FPL Wildcats partner J&O is going to go live, so hopefully he's not going to copy any of these teams, because, we are up against each other in the league. So, Jay, don't be stealing my ideas now, dude. Don't be stealing my ideas. Will Trent Alexander-Arnold start? I think I heard somewhere in one of the presses that he's got a bit of a niggle. So if I was you, I'd go with somebody you know is more nailed. So on that note, I have finally come to the bottom of the chat. I just want to say thanks to everybody for watching. Make sure you get on over to J&O's channel, and that's FPL Today. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Sorry, that's the microphone. Hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this, I'll do a few more during the season. I might make it a bit more of a regular thing. And yeah, lots of luck. Stay in touch. I'm on Twitter Let me know how it's going, and I'll try and tweet you out which one of these 4 drafts. So I'll just give you a quick look over them. So there's the first one. There's the second one. There's the third, which is probably my favourite right about now. And then, whoops, and then there's my 4th. So I'll let you know which one I've settled on. Hopefully I've settled on one in time. Little bit worrying that time is running out now. So cheers all. Thank you very, very much again for joining. Let me get back to my computer, and I will catch you all soon. Nymphria out.